Hey there, Congregation 13. This is Rob,
I'm Chris.
and we're coming at you live from the bunker. And today is February 18th, 2026. We're going to be carrying on with our series on love. What it is, what it's not, and all these different kind of things. I know what I want you to read. Turn to Ecclesiastes chapter 3.
Oh, okay.
So, last time we talked about um, 1 Corinthians 13 and the different types of ways that love is described there, which that's more of the agape love or the uh, love of God, God's love for us, how we should love unconditionally. And today we're going to talk about one of the four Greek connotations of love, which is storgē, eros, phileo, and agape.
I keep
And
wanting to call that storky.
storky.
I don't know why.
So I'm getting this mostly. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. I'm not reinventing the wheel or anything. C.S. Lewis's The Four Loves. You can check that out. It's a great book and kind of explains that a little more. And so tonight we're going to talk about the storgē connotation of love, which is a familial love, or what is that, Chris?
A passionate affection,
So affection or a
passionate fondness.
fondness.
There's a difference.
Yes. So you have more of an affection. See, we have an English word for this, and yet we toss love on top of it, and we just kind of broad brush. We use love for so many different things that we really shouldn't. And I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this. That C.S. Lewis, a quote out of this book very early on, and he talks about how we do disservice with the language. We just don't really use it like it should be used. We have words that can be used, and yet we use these other words. So affection and fondness, affection for family members and things like that, a fondness for something that is familiar, um, like our town.
Our town, our hometown.
We are very fond of Whitesburg.
Absolutely.
We don't have to love Whitesburg, but that's the word that we use. Okay?
Yeah, we can even be passionately fond
Yeah.
of it, which I am.
So C.S. Lewis kind of warned. This is kind of the way I took it. And I like the way the quote came out, and I may be misjudging it or misusing it, but just listen to it and see. He says, we better not follow Humpty Dumpty in making words mean whatever we please. Now, we live in a society where we kind of do that. Words change meaning every day. And they're used in a way they shouldn't be on purpose. And next thing you know, that's what that word means. So it's hard to keep up with. So we should really use words like they're meant to be used and not just pile on. So we should use affection and we should use fondness instead of love. But that's what we do. And so even the Greeks used storgē for this affection or fondness of family or something that's familiar, that you don't really have any control of, but you're put in front of it all the time. We don't choose our family members, but we can grow fond of them. But you know what? We can also grow to hate these. So with this banner that they put out at the Super Bowl, the only thing greater than hate is love. Well, what is hate and what is love? But the Bible said there's a time to hate and there's a time to love. There's things that you should hate and there's things that you should love and not love. So you want to read that part?
Well, let me find
Start wherever you want to.
Well, I tell you what, if I can, I would like to read verse 1 through 8 because it really
Ecclesiastes chapter 3. It's talking there's a time for everything.
That's right.
So it's not just one or the other. Sometimes there's a time for all these things that you think are negative or positive, but there's a time for it. Sometimes you gotta fight. Sometimes you gotta look for a way for peace. And so.
Yeah. So listen very carefully because this may surprise you on some of these. Chapter 3, verse 1, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal. Wow. A time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, which is very hard to me, and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate. Man, a lot of liberals will say, oh, hate's not in the Bible.
You got to be specific about what we're hating and what we're loving.
A time for war and a time for peace.
I swear it's not too late. Okay, so there's a time for all these things. And so the Greek goes into a lot of detail about all these different types of love, and the English has ruined, or at least American English has ruined this love, that we cast love over everything. So we got to specify what love is and what it's not. So one thing about love is something that you're just cast into, but you grow fond of, okay, over the years. But that can also turn negative. And C.S. Lewis warns that anything that you put up as love can become a demon or an idol. So you have to be careful about how you emphasize this. So fondness of family, familiar things, that's a good thing. Affection. So a fondness can be of things or people outside the family. So it's for things or people outside the family or extended family. You know, good old Uncle Joe. I'm fond of Uncle Joe. Okay, he's not immediate family. He's an addition to the family. Somebody don't say that much, but I'm fond of him. Or fond of Whitesburg, or fond of chocolate cake, whatever. Now, in this, the Hebrews have the same sort of word, but they have a word named called Ahab, which is the verb form, or ahaba, which is the feminine noun that's used for this sort of thing. But their word, this word, is used for the affection. It's used for eros love. It's used for phileo love. It's used for everything except for the love of God, which is hesed. So that's the only different one. They have like two words for this type of love. So when you see this kind of in the Old Testament, it's Ahab is the action word, and then ahaba, which is the noun. And then the affection that we have for this is more for passionate affection for family, for immediate family. That's what this is, mostly used for. All right. That is the storgē. How you say it again?
Storky.
I
don't know why I want to call it that.
Storky bringing the baby.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why I was going to do that.
Okay, so some examples for this real quick. We're going to make this quick tonight. We're not going to go into too much detail because we just want you to understand the different connotations, different types of love and things like that and how they're used. So here's an example from the Old Testament, or several examples. So I'm just going to go down the line because you'll get the idea. And so you understand Abraham's love for Isaac, his son. Okay? Isaac's love for Esau. Okay? He's the one that he wanted to love deeply. But Rebekah, who was Isaac's wife, had more of a love for Jacob. So Jacob and Esau were their two sons. And Isaac preferred Esau. Rebekah preferred Jacob. Okay, that's that. This is the type of love we're talking about. Parent for their child, a child for their parent, children for each other, or such things. Then you had Joseph and Jacob. You had that relationship there. So you had Jacob, who gave Joseph the coat of many colors because he was the favorite out of the 12. And then, of course, Jacob's reciprocal love for his father, especially when he was in Egypt and his brothers came and he says, "Is my father still alive?" That's all he really cared about. He had his love for his brothers too, because he wept when he found out who they were. He recognized them, but they didn't recognize him. But he loved them. He loved them in his heart. These are my brothers, and I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to save them. But then you have the psalmists' fondness. So you read the Psalms, and there's always a fondness for Israel, the nation of Israel. Then Jerusalem, the great city, Mount Zion. And then you have the great love for the temple, which is, inanimate object. It's just a thing, right? But there's a fondness, such a fondness for that it's all throughout the Psalms. In the New Testament, you have the obvious affection of Mary and Jesus. That you can't break that bond. That's such a great bond there, and such a great story. Um, then you have in fondness an example of Jesus in his lament over Jerusalem. Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, if you would have just, you know. And so he lamented over that because he had a fondness for the great Mount Zion. And so we have any other examples, Chris? Maybe from life or?
Well, I mean, of course, your family is, Patty and Katie, and my four-legged daughter, Vubu. I have a passionate affection for those three.
Yeah, Vubu is not a fondness.
And
she's a family member.
She's a family member, and my granddaughter, Maisie. And I'm very passionately affectionate to those to my immediate family members, and me and Rob's lived in Whitesburg all of our life, and we have moved here and there, but we have mainly lived right here in Whitesburg. And as we mentioned earlier, Whitesburg has a very special place in mine and Rob's heart, and very fond of it. Very, very fond of Whitesburg. I look at all the historic landmarks every time I drive through it, and that's just about every day. And but I am not affectionate towards the city like I am my family. The people in it, I'm very fond of.
Would you die for Whitesburg?
I would die for Whitesburg. I would die for Whitesburg and my friends. I'm very passionately fond of my friends in Whitesburg. But that is a whole lot of difference between that fondness, even though it's passionate, than what I have for my family, and a lot of
deep affection,
deep affection. And and another example I can think of, and I may be misstepping here, I don't know. So, you have some passionate Harley Davidson people. Man, they are passionate about their Harley. They are passionate, and they tend to maybe mix that up, that passionate affection for their family, with their passionate affection for their Harley. Out there polishing it every day, make it shine, look good, and everything. And that's their life. They ride it all the time. They live free or die, whatever the phrase is, yeah. Ride or die, or whatever it is. But that's not the same thing. It's an inanimate object that they are very fond of. They may be passionately fond of it, but it's an inanimate object, and their affection for their family is a whole lot different. Yeah, it's a love.
But you understand now why in the Old Testament, they have Ahab as that word that can be applied in many different ways. But the Greek kind of breaks it down a little more, and then we silly English connigans. We use one word and kind of talk about everything. We can love potato salad, and we can love God, and we can love our wife, and we can love all these things. And it's just we got other words for those, and that's how we really should use it. But we want to make sure we break down the different ways that love is and love is not. And we're not going to go into the whole hate thing, but we just want to focus on the love. So we are extremely affectionate and fond of you.
Absolutely.
We love you.
Absolutely. We love you.
And we thank you for watching, and we will cover Eros next time. All right.
Hey, and repent, 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 you heathens.
That's right. Don't see you next time.
We'll see you on the other side.